Look
at that. You
doing
Oh,
back it
player.
off.
you're
You
not you're
trying to
not
make
taking the
a bet,
bet?
you ain't doing it.
Nah, I'm not
I got
taking that one. Sorry.
oh my.
What's up, Fackers? We are back with our Fantasy and Chill 101, counting down the top 101 fantasy football players for the 2020 season. Number 73 on the countdown, we have wide receiver Deebo Samuel of the San Francisco 49ers. He is our 29th ranked wide receiver. Last year, he finished as wide receiver 29. Okay, see how that works there? His stats last year: 57 catches for 802 yards and 3 touchdowns. Also added 14 carries for 159 yards and 3 more touchdowns. He scored 165.6 fantasy points, an average of 11 points per game. All right, so right away is going to be the number one receiver in San Francisco this year. Emmanuel Sanders, who came over midseason last year, has gone to the New Orleans Saints. So he is the top receiver there in San Francisco. I'm going into his second year. You know how those second year wide receivers usually take a bump, little step up there. So hopefully he can improve on his rookie season. But maybe one thing that's concerning is we know that San Francisco is a run heavy offense, and they will continue to do so this year with Mostert, and Coleman, and the ghost of Jerick McKinnon, and whoever else they throw in there. Uh, he is a number one receiver, but he may be limited in what he can do in San Francisco with that run heavy offense and with Jimmy G throwing the ball.
That's true, but who else do they have there now?
Well, the
Emmanuel
top
Sanders is
target, the
there.
top target is George Kittle.
Yeah.
Well,
George
yes,
Kittle is
yes,
the number one receiver, not wide
Right.
receiver.
yes.
But
But
After
Deebo,
Deebo, they have Dante. I don't even know if Dante Pettis is still even considered a part of that after his disappointing year last
he's
year.
in the
I like Dante
doghouse.
Pettis, but yeah.
no, dude, yeah, don't even mention him. The only other guys I'm even looking more, I mean, Marquise Goodwin's gone, and then yeah, Emmanuel Sanders is gone, and those are those are the guys right there. So I mean, if Debo can step into that role and be a number one with Kittle right there, opening up the field a little bit, I mean,
Who's the
he's got
guy
some
that I
potential.
started in daily last year in the playoffs? Kendrick
Tre-
Bourne.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Well, we also
He
drafted
was pretty good.
we drafted Trent Taylor. He got hurt,
Okay.
but they
Yeah.
also drafted Brandon Ayuk. That's who pronounced his last name
Okay.
this year.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
last year
from Arizona State.
they had Jalen Hurd who got hurt. I think preseason, so he didn't get to play at
Okay,
all
so
either. So
there's some guys there that could potentially step up, but I think it's pretty clear that Debo is the number one wide receiver. I'm glad we clarified that because Kittle is the number one receiving option.
yes. But I
yeah,
mean, yeah, Debo had 80 targets last year, 57 catches, and only 3 touchdowns. His touchdowns have to go up. So I mean,
He did have 3 rushing touchdowns though.
okay, that's pretty impressive.
So he runs the end around quite a bit.
yeah,
So that's just a
they're kind of
little thing
creative
you
with
can add
him.
on there.
But the thing that worries me is, yeah, he had a decent year last year, and he was. We say he's gonna be the number one this year, but he really didn't start producing last year until after the Emmanuel Sanders trade. He once they got Emmanuel Sanders, he bumped up his receptions per game by 1.2. His targets per game went up, and his yards per game went up by like 30 yards per game. So I don't know
That's
if it.
pretty
I don't know
decent.
if. Yeah, but what
So
worries
he
me is
kind of
that.
needs that guy to take the attention away from him.
Yeah, exactly. Does he need that?
Kittle's there though.
A kid was
Kittle's
there
there, and Kittle
before.
was hurt. Well, Kittle was hurt some last year. He missed a few games. I don't know if that contributed to that.
Yeah, we have such a small sample size with Debo now. But who knows? Like maybe one of these rookie wide receivers can come in and kind of step into that role that
Okay,
Emmanuel's like just taking attention away from the defense from Debo.
does this sway you at all? His first 5 games are Arizona, the Jets, the Giants, Philly, and Miami. Those are some pretty juicy matchups to start the season off with.
They are, but you could say it's also juicy for them to just pound the ball into the
Yeah,
ground
it's
and
juicy for Raheem Mostert and Tevin Coleman too.
Yes.
I
But
think
And
okay, no, look, we have to throw that to the side because look, they got rid of Emmanuel Sanders. He's going to be the guy there. So his connection with Jimmy G, like there has to be something said with that too.
yeah, that brings up my point though that he was better with Emmanuel Sanders there. Like
Yeah, what was that? 10 games. Yeah.
They traded for him in week 7, so he had around 8, 9 games with him there. It was
And
like a pretty obvious boost once Emmanuel Sanders got there.
his ADP as of right now, which is very early, is 50.
That's
So
about
that's
sixth
sixth
round in a
round.
10
Yeah.
team.
That's
Which
a little early for me, obviously, since I have him at what are we at 73 here. But I mean, you're probably gonna have to pay that sort of price if you want to get him. I like some more receivers ahead of him, and I don't fully trust Jimmy G either.
No,
yeah,
So
yeah.
I
that's
think
my problem too. Like, dude, he showed up in a few like that Saints game last year. That was off the chain. But like other than that game, it was kind of he was suspect because of that running game too.
yeah,
Yeah,
they
so
really have to rely on him.
what's really going to change? So last year they were 31st in pass attempts per game, second in rushing attempts, and they made the Super Bowl. So why would they go into this year trying to change up their offense and become more of a passing offense when they literally, a few things change and they're Super Bowl champs?
True, but look at their division too. The Seahawks can score, the Rams should be better, and Arizona should be better. So maybe they have to put up some points. I don't know. Their defense was legit last year, so it's kind of tough to
Yeah, I
argue
mean,
that.
their offensive line's one of the best in the games. It's yeah, he is, like we mentioned, the number one wide receiver, but it's the number one wide receiver on a team that's just going to run the ball, and Kittle is
Maybe,
going to take most of the targets.
but see, and I had a strategy last year, which I guess didn't really pay off for the most part. But I was trying to draft players on good teams, like that were gonna score the ball. Now, Big Ben going down fucked me, but other than that, and Damian Williams, but I don't know.
Bold strategy, Britt.
Yeah. I mean, I guess everyone does that, but you try to attach yourself with good teams, and he's a number one receiver on a good team. So I
And
don't
he'll
know.
Yeah.
still have some great games, and he'll put
Yes.
up points, and he'll
Oh
be
yeah.
that solid. I mean, I still consider him that a flex receiver, not maybe such a wide receiver 2 yet. I still like a lot of other receivers ahead of him, but he'll put up wide receiver 2 borderline flex numbers.
Yeah, and with those matchups at the beginning of the season, I don't know, defenses are getting used to shit. There'll be should be some more points. Maybe you sell high on Deebo.
Yeah, that's kind of what we're seeing around this ranking too, though, is that a lot of these receivers are like borderline wide receiver 2 flexes. So I guess this could be a guy that potentially has a huge year, but I don't know. I just see more of a boomer bust. I don't know, well, let me ask you a question real quick too. So I'm seeing like DK Metcalf is going around his ADP. Who would you rather have there? Like Metcalf is maybe the number 2 there in Seattle.
I'd rather have DK.
I'd
DK.
rather have DK just because he's got the size to be a number one, and I mean, like we just said, Deebo had 3 touchdowns last year receiving, so DK is that like presence in the end zone too that Wilson can
Yeah,
look for.
I think I agree with
I
that too.
think I think DK is going to establish himself this year as the number 1 target there, whereas Kittle always going to be the number 1 in San
Yeah,
Fran.
Was that
sure.
a hot take?
I mean, is that really that
DK over
hot?
Lockett? I guess we'll find
No.
out soon.
Well, I mean, rankings wise, yeah, I guess that is kind of a
Still
hot
have
take, but
Lockett ranked ahead of him, but I mean,
well, yeah,
DK takes a step this year.
Yeah,
yeah.
it's not. Yeah,
We'll get to DK pretty soon in the rankings, so we can talk
yeah.
about that then.
Imagine, yeah.
Okay, here's a question for you: Deebo Samuel or AJ Green?
Well,
It's our next video, Britt.
I know, in all the rankings, I'm seeing them like right next to each other, so I'm not just
I,
going
I
off he's the
have
next player.
I have AJ Green 1 ahead of him, so that tells you that I'm taking AJ Green, right?
Okay, well, these are your personal rankings, which are kind of shit. But Matt, who would
You'll
you
never
have?
get rankings because you won't ever sit down and devote 5 minutes to fucking do it.
Matt, who would you take? I didn't hear you, Killer. It's okay.
What? Oh, someone's at my door. Sorry, I'll be right back.
Are you being serious? Or, okay, so
I just didn't want to
Deebo
be part of
or
this
AJ
argument.
Green? It's not an argument. It was ended.
Okay. Yeah. Man, it's a tough one.
Come on, gun to your head. Let's go. 3,
I'd
2,
probably take AJ
1.
Green with the higher upside,
Okay.
but it's close.
Yeah, with Burrow coming in. Yeah.
All right.
I'd rather have Burrow than Jimmy Garoppolo.
Really?
We throwing the ball, yeah.
Is that a bet?
I'll bet you that that Burrow has more points than Jimmy Garoppolo.
Take
Keller,
that.
take the bet.
I'm already in for 5 bets. Y'all two don't have one bet with each other.
Yeah, we do. No, not with each other.
Keller, you idiot. Who has all your bets with you?
You dumbass.
Yeah, we have 5, you moron. Don't
Are
tell
we
me to take
shaking on it?
more.
Saying you and Matt have not made one bet with each other.
Yeah. Well, how many do you and Matt have?
One.
I think we have 1 and me and you have like 3.
Hey, these do cancel out, right?
Wait, what? Cancels out.
Like,
Britt,
so if I
are
win
we
a
taking
bet
the
and
bet
you
or
win a
not?
bet, then
No, we
Keller.
ain't doing cancel like fucking bags. It's
Yeah. No,
add
because
on
dude,
top
I
of
ain't
each other.
shotgun 5 beer.
Win some of your bets, pussy.
Yeah.
All right,
Be
and that's
better at
Deebo
betting.
Samuel, our number.
Look at that. You
Oh,
back it
player.
off.
You're not
Trying to make
taking
a
the
bet,
bet?
you ain't doing it.
Nah, I'm not
I
taking
got.
that one. Sorry.
Oh my. All right.
I like Joe Burrow.
All right, so just to wrap it up, Deebo Samuel, number 29 receiver, number 73 overall, and Britt's a pussy. We out.
Yeah.
I'm a pussy.